Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Big T Anderson. I'm back in the saddle again. Now, this one's going to be a bit different, and we're going to be doing some Chinese translated tales. When I say tales, it's more like the beginnings of some Chinese novels. This is off of Gravity Tales. Now, I say beginnings because some of these are very long. So I'm going to give you kind of the sampler platter. I'm going to be your waiter. We're going to go around through the month, and we're going to have an international reading bonanza. Just a little bit of Grecian delights, a little bit of Chinese delicacy, and hopefully we're all going to have some fun, because why not, right? Now, I will have links below, and hopefully you all enjoy this. This is called the Black Card. Now, normally I know something about, the universe, or about anything. There is no universe tying all these stories on Gravity Tales together, so I'm literally going in sometimes a touch blind. But that's part of the fun. Anyways, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Bank Card. In this vast universe that encompasses all living beings, each individual sees themselves as different, special, or even unique, in comparison to others to some degree. From a macroscopic view, the 7 billion people that occupy and share this azure planet are really not that different from each other. Regardless of one's affluence, authority, or looks, every inhabitant of this planet will eventually decompose into mere particles as time passes. But the microscopic perspective, in contrast, is so accurate it's outrageous. From this standpoint, the cellular level, there are no two individuals who are completely and utterly indistinguishable from each other, and thus, every person is different and unique. Even though a pair of identical twins may be born into the same family and experience similar childhoods, a minuscule difference in their DNA makes it impossible for their futures to be exactly the same. Everyone's existence is extremely special, just as the famous philosopher Heraclitus once said 2,500 years ago. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man. In the musing, he points out that a river will always flow forward in one direction, just as time does, irrespective of whether people want it to or not. And just as the river will continue to change as it stirs and it turns, people are shaped and changed by their experiences with every passing day. So the same person cannot step into the same river twice, as both entities are constantly transforming. Science indicates that on average approximately 500,000 cells are renewed in a person's body per second. So even if one ignores the time that it takes for the molecules to assimilate, the person that exists in this second is not the same person as the one that existed in the previous. In Buddhist proverbs, the uniqueness of our universe and of human experiences themselves is known as one grain of sand is a world. From every person's perspective, even from a viewpoint of a grain of sand, the world is completely different. Therefore, the saying, everyone is unique, is to be taken as words of wisdom. Shilei never considered this before, and he would never even ponder on questions like this. As a university student in his 4th year, he was so ordinary that people wouldn't notice him when he's walking on the street. In terms of looks, he was relatively good-looking. He could even be considered as handsome, but in the case of his family background, he belonged in the middle to lower social class. No one could find him if he had been thrown into a crowd. His parents are office employees. Amongst the most developed provinces like Hedong province, they only earn about 3,000 to 4,000 won per month. They are not considered to be too frugal, but paying for Shilei's university fees and living expenses alone takes a third of their income, so they're not too imprudent either. Shilei was always willing to be ordinary since he wasn't someone with ambitious aspirations. When he did his high school graduation exams, he was extremely lucky and his marks were about 40 or 50 points higher than his previous mock exams. He just made it into a first-class university, and his parents were extremely delighted. But Shilei knew, after he entered university, he'd definitely be an underachiever. It would not have anything to do with the student council, school hung, campus bell, or even success after graduation. All Shilei wished for was to be able to find a decent job before graduation, with a level of income which surpassed the average. As to life, he didn't have any excessive desires. As ordinary as Shilei was, the biggest prize he ever gotten in life being the another free bottle in the beverage cap sweepstakes, he was sitting on his bed in his dorm as he found himself staring at a blank bank card in his hands with extreme concentration. The bank card seemed ordinary. The size and material weren't anything special. The right side of it was printed with numbers, slightly raised from the flatness of the card, a magnetic strip on the back. If anything was unusual, it was the name of the bank that issued the card, printed in the bottom right corner. Shilei has never heard of this before. It looked like a foreign bank. As someone who survived for more than 3 years in university, with a pass for the level 4 test for English ability, Shilei could accurately translate the short English phrase as Slave Development Bank. But as peculiar a foreigner's thoughts and creativity may be, it's not normal for people to name their bank Slave, right? In the signature space on the back of the card were 6 handwritten numbers, which looked like the pin used to withdraw money from it. But how stupid must the person be to write the password for withdrawal on the back of their bank card? Are they not afraid of it being lost or stolen? Now, this seemingly ordinary bank card with its pin written so clearly on the back appeared more strange than anything. What was even more peculiar was that Shilei couldn't remember picking this card up from the ground, so why was it in his hand right now? This card could have a lot of money on it, right? If the password to the card is really the 6 digits on the back, maybe he could make a small fortune. After all, the owner of this card drove a Porsche. As the thought of a Porsche flashed in his mind, a sudden burst of terror engulfed him completely, leaving him shivering on his bed. As autumn just arrived, the coldness of absolute zero spread from his heart throughout his entire body. That Porsche sports car and all that happened afterwards was so extraordinary. If everything that happened was real, then Shilei would probably turn into someone unusual. But who even wants to be unusual? It was something that happened yesterday in the middle of the night. 4th year in university is a marvelous school year, although the students still needed to attend class. All the teachers thoughtfully stopped calling rolls as they knew with the students entering graduation season, they were going to be busy contracting companies for work experiences, hoping to receive a job offer before graduation. Shilei went to a job interview for a state-owned enterprise. To be precise, he did a written exam in the morning and received a notification for the interview in the afternoon. About 100 people participated in the exam, but only 4 admissions were offered in the end. Having entered the interview list would have meant that Shilei's results for the written exam made it into the top 20, and he was extremely excited upon receiving the notification. He rushed to the company and lined up for the interview, but by the time it finished, it was already 8 p.m. Although the examiners told him to wait until further notice, he knew that he was eliminated when he saw the look in their eyes. Shilei walked down the street of Wudong, disappointed, hungry, extremely regretful after screwing up the interview. If he could make a slight change to his answer to a certain question, he might have grasped the job opportunity, which could not be easily obtained. Time seemed to be toying with Shilei. Upon discovering that there was no one on the street, he realized it was already close to midnight. He checked the time on his phone. It was actually 5 or 6 minutes before midnight. His stomach grumbled angrily, as if all of his organs were rebuking him for forgetting to eat, and as he planned to turn around and find a restaurant near the school to fill up, 2 gleaming light beams from straight ahead blinded him. The roaring sound of the machine filled his ears. Shilei stared straight ahead, unaware of the danger that was swiftly approaching, and when he finally had the view of what was behind the beams of light, he was dumbfounded to see that the source of the gigantic roaring was a high-speed sports car. The speed must have surpassed 200 kilometers an hour. It was racing straight towards Shilei. There was barely 10 meters left between them, and it showed no signs of slowing down. Is that driver crazy? Now, that's where the chapter ends. So if you want to read more, I will leave a link down below, but I do hope you go and you enjoy it. We're definitely we're going to go back to regular fan fictions next time, and because I took so much time off, might as well get all the international flair out this time. But I think we're going to have fun this time, so no worries. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Ta-ta for now.